I want to start this video off by taking time out to say rest in peace to Kentaro Miura and thank you for everything that you've done, not just for the anime community, but the influence and impact that you've had all throughout the world. And I just wanted to say that we miss you. In honor of Kentaro, I wanted to talk about one of my favorite manga characters of all time, which is Guts from Berserk. Anyone who doesn't know what Berserk is a manga series that was released in 1989 and over the years have been proclaimed to be one of the best dark fantasy mangas of all time, which I personally agree with, but to each his own. Berserk has inspired many anime in the modern generation, and its reach has even went well beyond anime to things like video games that include Demon Souls, Dark Souls, Devil May Cry, Final Fantasy, and the list goes on and on. Berserk, in my opinion, is one of the most well-written, beautifully drawn, and most thought-out anime that I can think of. And if you're over the ages of 18, I definitely recommend you check out the manga, give it a read. But do be warned, it has some very tough subjects and topics and scenarios that the characters do go through. So be in mind of that. I can go hours talking about Berserk, but in this video, I wanted to more so talk about the character of Guts, the main character. For anyone who didn't know, Guts is truly without a doubt one of the most well-written characters that I can think of, especially as far as anime and manga goes. The thing that makes Guts such a great character isn't just his sword or his armor that I wish I had, or even his harsh personality. It's the complexity of the character. Guts isn't a character who can just be defined as good or bad or right or wrong. He strays away from the role of an ideal hero. He doesn't just tether the line of good and bad. He completely breaks the existence of the line, making readers even question whether to root for him. Guts' character struggles with fate or destiny, some would say. Hell, the character in the manga is called the Struggler, and it's beautiful. As crazy as it is to say, the writing on it is beautiful. I think the thing that sets Guts apart and kind of puts him in the category of his own as far as character-wise is his humanity. His constant struggle with his humanity and how he handles it and how he expresses it is what makes him so complex. His philosophy is always changing, whether it be progressive or regressive. To some people, he might just come off as, an angry berserker, but his anger tells so much more of a story as far as the hopelessness, the fear, the panic, the isolation, and the numbness that comes with the pain that he dealt with. And his pain is validated by everything we've seen him go through from the moment he was born. Stuff that I can't even talk about on YouTube. This isn't a spoiler, analysis. It's just a basic analysis of the character. To put it plain and simple, he was a youth cursed by fate who unironically challenges that fate constantly. While Guts tries not to show many emotions outside of anger, the times that he do manages to slip up and show his sadness, grief, or guilt, or even his pain, you see him. You see him for what he really is. A man that means well, but doesn't end up doing well. His constant inner battle and self-destructive path of punishment that he set for himself based on what he's done in his life is what we can't directly relate to, but what we can make an emotional connection to with the character. However, the relatability comes in with looking in oneself and reflecting on our actions and growing. And Guts may fight all of these monsters and these people throughout the Berserk universe, but his biggest battle will always be with himself. He fights to suppress his anger. He fights to find his purpose in life. He even fights with his armor. His character is always changing. It's a constant battle with him, and that's the thing that sets him aside, because even in still moments in his life, he's still battling. Even while he has peace, briefly, but he has peace. He's fighting himself. He's constantly thinking, questioning, and just simply growing. And the world building in Berserk allows Guts to grow from the development of characters around him. The characters in his life portray different parts of his personality that he either hides or he weaponizes. Notably, Griffith, Casca, and other people that he meets all throughout his journey and quest for revenge. I say all of this to say the thing that makes Guts such a beautiful character is that he's so human. far too human to be treated and viewed as a typical anime protagonist. He's a troubled person who has made mistakes and has deep regrets that constantly cause him to succumb to his emotion. He carries an existential burden that prevents him from getting close to people out of fear of hurting them or losing them. The path he walks down is a path of resistance and hope, the hope for a better tomorrow, the hopes that he can overcome the beast that was created in him from the trauma he dealt with from the moment he drew his first breath, the hope that he's still worthy of purpose despite everything he's been through. And this is something that a lot of us can relate to. We question the void and our own self-worth because of the shit that we dealt with in our own lives. And to see a character struggle with the same sense of humanity not only adds life to what you're reading, but it also opens up the space to let the reader know it's okay. And despite what you've been through, you are worthy. And that the road may get tough, but to keep going, reflecting and growing is how you overcome that self-sentence that we placed on ourselves that says that we're beyond forgiveness. And that's what Berserk tries to show and tell us through Guts. And then showing us that we all can potentially find purpose and that we can all do a lot more than what we believe we were intended to do. That there is a future and we don't just live in an eternal now. And that it's okay to fail and fall sometimes. And Kentaro did a beautiful job at creating not just this character, but this manga series. I just wanted to keep it short and sweet in this video, just to give my view on Guts and Berserk as a whole. I didn't want to go into any spoilers about any arcs or anything. That's why I didn't go too much into his backstory and more so just spoke on the character, the tropes, and what makes him so unique as a protagonist. And these are just some of the many things that I wanted to say about Guts without spoiling the show and just giving a brief synopsis of the character. If you want to do crazy deep dives, there are a bunch of YouTube channels on there that'll go into explaining not only Guts but Berserk as a whole and all of the characters. I just wanted to give a brief summary on why Guts is, in my opinion, one of the greatest protagonists ever written all throughout anime and manga in general. But I wanted to thank everybody for, coming out and listening to this. This one was definitely more of a tougher video to make, not only because I actually had to sit down and write all of this, but because the Berserk as a whole is one of my favorite mangas, and with Kentaro's passing, it just hits a little hard talking about Berserk as a whole now. But I wanted to make this, because some people are starting to get into anime and manga and they might miss out on a masterpiece. And I just wanted to introduce it to some people. And for some people who have seen it, maybe they'll like this video. I hope. But that's all. And I want to thank everybody again. Love you all and see you all in space.